everyone, and welcome to the CPA Moms podcast. I'm Nicole, your host and the brand ambassador of CPA Moms. Today's guest is someone whose story beautifully bridges science, spirit, and self-discovery. Born in Rio de Janeiro and later building her life in Boston, Bianca Weissman first dedicated her career to helping others as a medical interpreter and translator. Along that path, she discovered a deeper calling. Now an herbalist, flower essence practitioner, and energy healer, Bianca blends her Brazilian roots and her passion for holistic wellness into her work. Earlier this year, I met Bianca through the Landmark Forum, and I was immediately struck by her radiant energy and her commitment to empowering women to live more intentionally and authentically. I cannot wait for you to hear her insight into what it really means to heal from within. Thank you for being here, Bianca.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you. So if you could just start us off with giving a little definition about what you do as a holistic healthcare practitioner.
Sure. So as a holistic healthcare practitioner, I look into finding the root cause of the person's health challenge, and how I do that. Because so what I have as working as an interpreter in the past, medical interpreter, I found that there are deeper ways to heal someone beyond the physical matter. So I started incorporating in my practice flower essences, herbs, recently radionics and radiesthesia, fifth dimensional technology, to heal the root cause of the problem, not put just a band-aid on top of it. And so what we do is we look at healing the person spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and consequently physically.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So it's like a holistic approach, looking at everything
Yeah.
and really taking into account everything involved in a person, what's going on with them, just to because essentially to heal the physical, all of it matters, right?
Mhm. Yes, we can't just like I said, the Band-Aid analogy, put a Band-Aid on top of something and not look beyond look through the layers. What how what did that person experience when growing up? How did that person grow up? How was the person's childhood? And then how many, look into deeper layers because sometimes they're so ingrained in the subconscious that the person doesn't even realize that that little piece from the past is causing something huge today. It's causing a physical challenge or a mental challenge or an emotion, regardless of what it is. So yeah, we have to look at all pieces, not just at the physical. We look at all areas when healing someone.
And I know one of the ideas that you have introduced me to that I didn't even know existed or was a thing was, is it generational trauma?
Ancestral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ancestral, that's it. Yes.
Yes, yes. And guess what? Science proves now, quantum physics and quantum mechanics proves now that we, when we heal ourselves, we can heal back more or less 7 generations, and we can heal forward more or less 7 generations. So healing some traumatic, let's say someone who has been a family lineage that has been struggling with alcohol. Grandfather is an alcoholic, father is an alcoholic, son has the opportunity to break that pattern. And when the son breaks that pattern, not only he's healing father, grandfather, but beyond that he doesn't even know of. It's just amazing. And of course, his kids will benefit, his grandkids, etc. So yes, we work on that, and it's very powerful. Sometimes a couple of sessions will do, because the person will something will click to the person, and oh, I need to work on that. Oh, I didn't realize I was doing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, we bring it to the person's awareness through energy healing as well.
So if you could talk about how energy healing works. And I know one of the things that kind of astounded me, because I am a very fact-based accountant, logic-based, but you can heal someone who's not even in the same room as you. So talk to me about that.
Yes. So that is, I appreciate you asking that, because, and it's not an easy task for me to do, to explain, but so here's the thing. Thank goodness for quantum physics and the principles of quantum mechanics. We can now, and there are so many researches, if anyone has ever heard from Heart Math Institute, they have tons of studies on this. You can be in one room with physical instruments that will really show results. You can be in one room, and the person's dog in another, that's an example. The person's dog in another room, one example of the study. And they can, through these instruments that I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it, they can sense how one is connected to the other. But not only that, there is also a principle called non-locality in quantum mechanics that shows that if you are in Japan and someone else is in Brazil, we can absolutely feel each other's energy, and we can heal the other person, because everything is interconnected through this unified force field. Some people call it God, some people call it force field, some people call it just field. But we are all interconnected, and there is no, like, science proved it, we're good. So it's not, a lot of people, but how can you do that? How can, I keep asking, from another place, from just your room? Yes, as long as I have some data and intention, and follow the principles of non-locality and other principles, as well as the entanglement, which it's another beautiful principle that explains when we when we have contact with someone, it doesn't matter when, okay? And it doesn't matter how. If you have been in touch with that person, you have entangled your energy with that person, and you can measure, you can how do you call it, not manage is not the right word, you can maneuver, you can shift the other person's energy through this principle as well. So yes, we can absolutely, by emitting certain frequencies to the person's electromagnetic field, we all have one. We just don't see it. We were never taught that, but that's the reality. Reality is we have a field around us, and thank God we do. Otherwise, we would be hurt all the time. So, frequencies are emanated to the field, and I'm sorry, I keep talking. I want to make sure that I answer the question. I don't go over it.
No.
Okay. So basically, yes, we can heal someone in another room, in another country, and we don't have to be in the same room. Thanks to these principles of quantum physics, non-locality, entanglement, yeah, and it's beautiful to think that way, because especially nowadays, we don't have a ton of time, right? We don't, taking, if I have to drive somewhere, it takes me 30-40 minutes, an hour. It's a long time. So being able to do this from here and being able to have the person be there at the comfort of her home, his home, it's great. Yeah.
And I know one of the things that kind of gave me an aha moment when we were first talking about this and you were trying to explain it to me, and I was like, okay, I think maybe I'm getting it, but I'm not real sure. But then it kind of hit me, just the idea of, I think, is it the butterfly effect?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so the butterfly effect explains that. Thank you for asking that. If something happens, because we're all again connected through this field, through this unified field, whatever happens to someone, let's say a butterfly in another country, will affect an animal here, because we're just vibrating in different frequencies. We're energy vibrating different frequencies, but we can affect each other's frequency by doing, like, basically doing anything. And so a good example, besides the butterfly effect, um we were all very touched, and it's a little bit sad, but we were all very touched when September 11th happened. And not only here, the whole world stopped.
Yeah.
So we may not always feel it to the extent of this drastic event, but it happens. And it happens at the subconscious level of the human being. So, for example, if I am if I am in a good mood, I'm going to, it's contagious. Everyone around me will be in a good mood. Now, if I'm in a bad mood, everyone around me, the same, and it will be hard if that person get out of, and being in a different mood. But what I'm trying to say is we just don't know, because we haven't been trained for it. We're all affected by the collective as well. And that, of course, explains why one can heal from here, someone else in Brazil, if that makes
And
sense. It's not an easy thing to understand. Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's difficult to comprehend. I think one thing that helps me a little bit more is just like air is invisible. So I think we forget that there is something there. But like when I'm moving my hands, air is getting out of the way, if you will, right? Like it's all the atoms and the molecules, and those are getting out of the way as I'm moving. So
Yeah.
they're doing something, and that's creating waves that are then just rippling out. That's a lot, like that explanation really helps me get it a little bit more of, okay, like me moving, it's not just me moving, it's I'm moving and shifting all the air molecules around me, which then ripples out to everything else. That's how it finally really clicked in my head to understand it.
It makes complete sense. And knowing also that we are atoms, right? We are made out of, and condensed energy, the condensed energy in the atom is energy. Boom, bingo, we are energy. We just haven't been taught that way. That's all. That's it. Another thing that comes to mind is the tech people. I'm not too technical, so but I understand now that there are companies out there coming with quantum computing, and they're, yes. So, and if you think about this, I was thinking about that the other day. I can, from my phone, copy and paste something excuse me, copy and paste it onto my computer. I can do that. So if you try it out, you can, I don't know, maybe depends on the computer. I don't know, to be honest, but I use a Mac and I have an iPhone. So when
Okay.
I copy,
Then
still,
it copies it to one clipboard for your account.
probably. No, not necessarily. I don't know. Maybe. I haven't looked into that. I'm using Google, copying from Google
Hmm.
Doc and pasting it to my app, my phone calendar.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't know that I knew that.
No, and I told other people about this. They didn't know. So I copy from Google
Yeah.
and I paste it to my calendar instead of adding another event. I just do it in one place and then add it here to my calendars. Now, how does it do it? Think about it. These people, they know about quantum physics and mechanics way more than we're starting to figure things out. We're starting to figure things out as far as energy goes. There we still have lots to learn. But for someone to figure this out, have already figured it out, is they already had the knowledge. It's just that it wasn't shared.
Right. Right. I'm
And
very intrigued to hear about how you weave together your cultural roots from Brazil into your practice that you have now.
sure. Um, well, so South America, I believe, is a bit more open to holistic health than here, although things are changing here as well, which is good. And one of the reasons why I'm here, I believe. Um, yes. And so growing up, I always used a lot of herbs, homeopathy. I didn't really go to the doctor really unless I really had to. And during teenage years, I was introduced by my godmother, flower essences. She is also a flower essence practitioner, so she highly impacted me on that. And it was working for me. Teenage years, hormones are all over the place, and I was struggling with my parents' divorce. So there was a lot happening, and that helped me immensely. And since then, I've been using it. But then not until I moved here, until I moved after not even when I moved here, I continued using it while I was here, but then I started studying it much later on in life. So basically, I carry a lot of flower essences is definitely one of them. They are vibrational remedies that work at the emotional level with the person's emotional level. So basically, flower essence, I would say flower essence is one of them. Herbalism as well. I'm not sure about energy healing. Energy healing is not, but although people are more open there also.
Now, flower essences, is that similar to essential oils, like you're
Thank you so much.
distilling or pulling something out of the flower?
Sure, thank you for asking. I work, sorry, I wasn't clear on that. I work with aromatherapy as well. Aromatherapy are essential oils.
Mhm.
And then flower essences, they are basically the essence of a flower, like a soul of a human being. It's,
Okay.
yes. So the way it was discovered by a British doctor who was fed up because he couldn't heal he could heal some people, he wasn't understanding why he couldn't heal others. And he had a feeling it was about the person's emotional state. So he moved, went to in the middle of nowhere, and then started doing a lot of research on flowers. And he discovered 38 beautiful, I think it was 38 in the beginning, yes, beautiful flower essences that heals from fear, anxiety, heals people from traumatic events from childhood, lack of flexibility, and so on and so on and so on. And all this will affect, of course, the physical body
Right.
eventually.
Right.
And the less the person suppresses those emotions, the better. That's why the flower essences are so important.
Can we add chronic stress to that list of things
Yes,
that flower essences? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So for sure, our audience and many other women in high pressure careers deal
Yes,
with chronic stress.
yes.
So how does holistic healing address stress differently than traditional methods?
That's a great question. So we don't put a band-aid on the problem. So if you come to me and say, I have I have anxiety and I have tried everything. I have tried herbs, I've tried flower essences, I've tried aromatherapy, I've tried everything and nothing helps. Or the person comes to me and says, I have high anxiety and I've tried medication and it doesn't help. So different approaches there, but both of them can definitely be looked at. My approach with the first one would probably be energy healing because it's quicker. The approach with the second one would help the person realign the body, realign the mind, body, spirit, physical. And eventually, if the person is interested in getting off the medication, I can't do that. That needs to be done by a professional, a doctor. But there are different approaches for that. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to poke a little bit more into something that you said because you talked about bringing things back into alignment.
sure.
And you were talking about like kind of like different aspects, physical and emotional. So what does that entail? How do we get out of alignment? And then what happens to bring us back into alignment?
Great. We tend to get out of alignment usually when we are not, there are many factors, but I would say there are many factors, but I would say for now that when we are not fulfilling our purpose, or when we're not in integrity with ourselves, or when we are, and that so once it's like a domino effect. If you're not fulfilling your purpose, that's most likely you're going to be depressed or sad, and so on. That's one form of being out of alignment. If you are overdoing, if you're going beyond your limit, you can also be out of alignment. If you are chronically stressed, you can get out of alignment easily, or constantly worrying, and who doesn't, right? Nowadays. Because we have our problems, but we also have the collective problems that affect us. Even if we don't understand it, it does. So there are many, many ways that we get out of alignment. Now, how we align the person back, we need to have an assessment to see how her or his there are many ways, but one of the assessments is to check the vortexes of energy that we have around us. At this point, we only know of 7, but there are more. And we also have, it's important that we also work on the healing of the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body, and emotional, mental, physical. Yes. No, excuse me. Mental, emotional, and spiritual. That mental, emotional, and spiritual. So working on those will definitely give a good sense of alignment. The person will feel more in harmony with herself or himself. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Now, we touched on this a little bit. Holistic healing tends to sometimes challenge mainstream medicine, or at least, in my opinion, that's definitely how the medical field thinks of holistic healing, as almost a challenge to them. How do you see the two working together rather than against each other?
I love that because it would be so much easier on all of us if we worked together and not against each other. Because there is a place for holistic and there is a place for mainstream medicine, right? You're gonna, God forbid, we develop MRSA and you have to, there are herbs for MRSA, but if it's an acute case, you may need high doses of antibiotics. So it would be ideal, like in my perfect, beautiful world, a person aims towards healing on a daily basis, looking at health as something that is sacred. It's something that is, my health is sacred to me, so therefore I'm going to take good care of it every single day. I'm going to do the things that I can to avoid being at the doctor all the time. That's me. Now, there are cases, okay, that the person may not be able to do everything that is required from a holistic perspective and will end up needing mainstream medicine, and that's okay. It wasn't her time or his time. But again, I feel like there are ways for us to work together. In many cases, there are, I don't want to, in many cases, we can avoid certain things from mainstream. And I have a holistic approach, but in many cases, we do need mainstream and we can't heal with a holistic approach. That's the reality. But I feel like it would be easier even on the patient if there was better communication. Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the things that we have talked a lot about, and I mean, you were just talking about like chronic illnesses, and sometimes we need traditional medicine for some of these bigger things that come up. But I think also, backing up and thinking about right now, what can I do to prevent
Yes.
future problems so it doesn't get to the point that I need traditional medicine because it's so bad and beyond that point. And one of the things that has come up multiple times in our conversations is insulin resistance and how much that leads to
Yes.
chronic problems.
Yes.
So I'd be remiss to not bring that up here. And if you could explain what is insulin resistance and a little bit about what the problems are with it and even preventative measures for it.
Sure, sure, I'll be happy to share. I just want to touch in one thing that you mentioned. There are cases, I was one of them, that I had a big problem. I had an autoimmune disease and I was able to reverse it, but not through mainstream.
Okay.
Holistically. So again, everyone is very unique and the cases are different. So everybody is different and everyone needs a different approach. One of the things that I definitely don't do is put everyone in one box. I can't do that. I can't do that because what you need may be something, and we'll talk about insulin resistance, which is also, I'm gonna try my best not to put everyone in a box. I'll give you a general idea, but everybody's different. Everybody has a different background. Everybody comes from a different childhood, a different family. So that affects everything, believe me. All right,
Yeah,
so
and I think
sorry.
that's one of the things that I love about holistic medicine, and I've been not practicing in it, what's the word, but using it for a long time. And that's what I've always loved is any holistic practitioner that I've had a conversation with. It's not just, okay, what are your symptoms? Okay, here, like this is what I do for everybody. It's like, no, I want to know everything about you. And it's a very in-depth, like talking about all the things. Some of them you might not want to talk about, but digging into all of it because that's what it takes. We are all unique individuals and we all of that meshes together to play a part in our health. So
Yes. And it's one of the things with my job. Sometimes we want to know everything and a little more. It's true. Because it affects your environment. Your environment affects your health. Bruce Lipton talks about that. For those who don't know Bruce Lipton, he's he was a biologist and discovered how the genes can be affected by the environment. And let me see if I have his book. I have his book. I don't know where it is right now. I'm sorry. What's the name of it? Bruce Lipton, look him up. Yeah. So, and he's not the only one talking about this. Thank you, Nicole. I have his book. I'm so sorry. I don't. It's not quantum. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. So anyway, so the environment also affects how your physical. Some people have sinusitis. If we do a little bit of harmonization in there, it goes away of the house because the person doesn't know how to respond to what is happening in the environment. It happens a lot. Okay, so IR. Sorry, I get really passionate about this. So IR is insulin resistance is a metabolic syndrome that, so the way it works is your body basically is not processing glucose as it should. So we have this cells with a receptor on the top, and this receptor on the top is called an insulin receptor. And every single time, every single time we eat something, this insulin receptor is working appropriately so that glucose that is in the cell is being processed appropriately. When insulin resistance is happening, this receptor on top of the cell shuts off, and the glucose that is supposed to be processed within the cell is not working anymore. So basically, Insulin resistance is when the pancreas keeps sending out insulin over and over and over again because the glucose is not being processed appropriately. Now, let me, when we eat, the pancreas releases insulin. Okay. And when we overeat, or when we snack, or overeat or snack, we're continuously sending out insulin. It gets to a point that the insulin is too much. Like you burning out the pancreas basically, and the cell is not processing the glucose as it should. The glucose goes to the bloodstream, and voila, we're starting to develop types 2 diabetes. We're starting to develop other metabolic syndromes, and we're starting to develop it's like it's the precursor for diabetes type 2. Insulin resistance is the precursor for diabetes type 2, for stroke, obesity, metabolic syndromes. How do we know that we have insulin resistance? That's usually, and I would say again, it's hard, right, to generalize, but if you follow the American diet, most likely, in other words, snacking, it's a big thing with insulin resistance, because again, if you're eating when you're not hungry, and if you are eating because, to deal with patterns, or because out of habit, you have a high probability of developing insulin resistance. And if not taken care of now, you can develop an autoimmune later on, or stroke, etc. When you have insulin resistance, when these are some symptoms, okay? These are just some symptoms. It is always good to check with a professional. We can do to do blood work, for example. Yeah. Some doctors will do it, some won't. So, but you can always, I'll share with you what they are, and then you can look for them. And have someone who understands it read it to you, right? So that's important too. All right, so fatigue in the morning, fatigue at night, you have no energy, or obesity, fat, but it's like sometimes a person is very skinny and has that little pouch. That is also a sign of insulin resistance. Difficulty losing weight, and increased hunger, but hunger for carbohydrates and sugar, not necessarily when oh, I'm hungry and I need to get a carbohydrate and not real food, that's also a sign. High cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood sugar, of course, or borderline blood sugar. So what can we do here to help, right, those who think they may have insulin resistance?
Yes.
If you're willing to get a blood test, you can get the blood test hemoglobin A1C, glucose, fasting glucose, and fasting insulin, those three. And that's a way to go. If you are suspecting you have it, try to avoid at all costs refined food and eat real food, food that you peel, that you wash, real food. And there are some teas also that I can suggest here if it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tulsi is one of them, Tulsi. It's also known as holy basil. Goat's rue also is a very good one, but goat's rue, you have to be very careful while taking. You cannot I would not advise if you're taking metformin, or if you're taking, mainly metformin. I would be careful with that. But if you're not taking medication, small doses in the morning, fasting. I love water with lemon in the morning, fasting, to bring in some acidity. So that's a good one. If you are hungry, eat. If you are not hungry, try to avoid the carbs. Try to avoid snacking. And try to remind yourself, and this is hard task, okay? It's not easy. But try to remind yourself of your goal. That's a suggestion. Or try to remind yourself that you want to continue to be healthy for whatever reason you may have. Maybe it's for your kids, maybe it's for your grandkids, so maybe it's for yourself or for your husband. I don't know. What else comes to mind here? Avoid carbohydrates. Oh, and so another thing also that could help is replacing the habit with a healthy habit. Replacing the old habit with a healthy one. So if your old habit was to go to carbohydrates when you're stressed out, have something else instead, or maybe a carrot or a cup of tea, whatever. It could be that in the beginning oh, I'm trying and it's not working. Just keep on trying different things, new things, until you find something that will help you replace the old habit with the new habit. But don't give up, because insulin resistance can be shifted, can be changed. And it's important that it does, to avoid any future diseases.
There's something I want to clarify for my purposes, because
Yes, please.
talking about things you can do to help with the insulin resistance. And you talked about lemon water in the morning and fasting. And so I
Yes.
know, like, one of the things I was taught as a kid, and I have said to my kids, and I'm wondering if I need to go clean this up, but is that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You just woke up and you've not fed yourself for so many hours. You need energy, so eat breakfast.
Yes, not necessarily. So
Okay.
that has changed. And we have learned this, right? This is also a program that has been ingrained in our brains, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. If you don't have it, you're going to be tired, or you're going to get sick, or whatever the case may be. That's not the case anymore. And there's science to back that up. So when we eat, let's say 7 o'clock at night, and we wake up at, I don't know, 6, 7 in the morning, you've given your body like 12 hours, maybe 11, 12 hours. If you are insulin resistance, you're not going to heal it by giving that window of time only. You need more time, at least 17 hours,
Wow, okay.
at least 17 hours. And you will realize that the more you do that, the more energy you will get. It's the opposite of what we were taught.
Okay.
Because your body is going to start burning the extra, because insulin signals increase of fat cells. The more we fast, with the help of a professional, the more you will burn fat cells. It's because you're regenerating your pancreas to an extent also. It's not releasing so much insulin, and then your body automatically will start working in alignment with how it's supposed to be working. So breakfast, you can have breakfast in the morning if you're going to fast the previous day, like as long as you give your body 17, 16, 17, 18 hours.
Okay.
And breaking the fast also is important to break the fast with, you can start with a glass of lemon water, and for the meal, have some good protein, have some veggies, if chia pudding or whatever the case may be, but it can't be, it's important that it's not just carbohydrates, that there is some protein. And if it's a healthy carbohydrate, like a sweet potato or whatever the case may be, sure, but as long as there is some sort of protein, so the sugar doesn't spike
Right.
as much, because the goal here is to heal the insulin resistance.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So no, breakfast is not as, if you choose that to be your your main meal of the day, yes, as long as you're fasting. You have a 17, 18 hours window prior to that.
So I need to go clean this up with my kids. I need to start teaching them to rely on when their body is telling them they're hungry rather than, hey, it's breakfast time, you need to eat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. But really listen to the body. And that's a good practice for your kids. It's a very good practice for them. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are all busy all of the time, right? So if one of our listeners only has 5 minutes in their day, what is one holistic practice that you would recommend they start with?
For someone who's very, very busy, quantum radiesthesia session.
Okay.
So that is radionics. That's based on the principles of quantum physics and mechanics. Radionics and radiesthesia, which emits, there's many different frequencies that are sending out to the person's electromagnetic field. So this way, the person doesn't have to be, we can communicate when she or he wants to communicate with me. And of course, I'll be updating the person. I would be updating the person as the process goes on, but definitely the quantum radiesthesia session to begin with. Yes. I'm
Got
looking
it.
at all my boards. That's I have a huge unit here with frequencies. That's what I'm looking at.
Got it. Well, thank you very much for being here, Bianca. This has been great. It's very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that is it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. If you are ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women, join our CPA Moms Facebook community. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We cannot wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.